The views expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Sauga960AM or its management.
Welcome back to the Roundup with your host Avi Rakhra on Sauga960AM. Today we have a very special guest and a very talented individual, Dina Barazza, or in Italian I believe it would be Dina Barazza, who is the President and Chief Learning Officer of the Talent Consortium, a consulting group which specializes in human resources, as well as a very highly sought after keynote speaker, advocate for persons with disabilities, and founder of Avanti Women. Dina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So Dina, before we begin, can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself for our first-time listeners?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me on the show. I just want to disclose that you are speaking to Miss Congeniality 1986 for Miss Teen Mississauga. Wow. And so I'm honored to be representing Mississauga, having lived most of my life in the city.
Oh wow! So you have the local connection to Mississauga as well.
So I certainly do, absolutely. Born and raised, and still have family there. So I thank you so much for having me on the show. And again, I want to answer your question with who am I? I think at that stage in my life now, so I know the woman that I've become and the woman that I want to continue to be. And so I'm very purpose-driven, I have strong values, and I know that I'm here to empower and educate others. And so with that, it gives me the opportunity to lead multiple organizations. That's where I get my energy, and it makes me not only a multitasker, but also a multipreneur, if you may.
And so Dina, if you said Miss Congeniality, going back just a little bit to 1986, so that was way before Sandra Bullock's movie came out, if I understand, right?
That would be correct. I admit that, yes.
So can we assume that maybe you were the inspiration for the movie?
I'm sure Sandra saw me on stage and had a real funny dialogue. That's where she got her content from me, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I guess it won't be the first time that Canadians have inspired Hollywood, right?
Right. Good.
So Dina, you spoke about how you're purpose-driven and you're at a place in your life where you now kind of have an idea of who you are and your purpose. If I can ask, what is it that inspired you to take action and to be involved as an entrepreneur, but also as a voice for those who need to be represented and who also need a voice for themselves?
Yeah, great question. And thank you so much. And, really when I think about Avanti Women, it's really about women, empowering women, and it's about moving forward, both personally and professionally. And it comes from my personal experience where I was in the workplace. I would ask people to help me, how do I become a manager? What do I need to do? What are the skills that you're looking for? Continuously asking for feedback, and was really getting a lot of resistance, rejection, and not really getting the answers that I wanted for my own self-development. And, I would go home and I would say to my mom, hey, what's wrong with me that, people don't want to help, and, what can I do? And my mother would always say to me, Dina, avanti, which in Italian means move forward, and, find someone else who's going to help you. So what I really love about that story is my mother, who empowered me to, find someone else. If it wasn't going to be the first person, it would be the next person. And so, part of my legacy is in honor of my mother, Avanti Women, so I can help all women at all stages of life with their personal and professional development. And so that's how Avanti Women was born.
Perfect. And so, Dina, would you say that you have a personal mantra or a philosophy that guides you?
I think I have different mantras for different emotions. And so some of them that come to mind, a very famous one that I like to use, especially among friends, is, friendship and love are always in style. When it comes to business and doing a lot of mentoring, I really try to instill a lot of, authenticness and also kindness. So I always say to people, kill them with kindness. They're expecting you to react, and maybe the best thing for you to do is do nothing and just continue to be kind. Because I do find in business and in life that we forget that skill. And so I think if we can say to people, let's continue to be kind to each other, I think that is a very good mantra.
Right. And so, shifting a little bit into your professional life and how accomplished you are. So you had mentioned that Avanti was means to go, I believe that was correct, right? Keep going?
Yeah, moving forward, absolutely.
Moving forward. And so was that your mom who had is that where you gotten the name for the actual organization itself?
Yeah, I think her advice to me when I was, looking for answers and asking other women in the workplaces where I used to work to help me, I'd come home out of frustration, crying, upset. Why won't women help me? And her words of wisdom was, Avanti, Dina, Avanti, which means, you move forward because it's like online dating. It's a numbers game. When you're looking for someone to connect and really get to know your true self, I think it's really, really important that, you do continue, you don't settle, you go look for someone who's really going to help you and want to help you, not because it's going to be more like a score or you owe me down the road. And so she was my inspiration. She was an immigrant woman who came to, originally Toronto, then moved to Mississauga when the family expanded. And I look at her and how she had to learn another language, find a job, learn a trade, make sure we had, clothes on our backs. And, I really honor that, tradition of immigrants who work hard and give to their children. So they sacrifice so we can have an education and build a business. And so not only did I have that support, it is her words about moving forward, Avanti, that, continues to resonate for me and maybe why I've been so purposeful in focusing on women and helping them with their personal and professional development.
Right. And so, Dina, Avanti Women, I'm assuming, like many other organizations, have had to probably change as a result of the pandemic and of COVID-19 and everything that's kind of going on. How would you say that Avanti Women itself has been, as an organization, affected due to this pandemic?
Yeah, well, it affected us in good ways and in opportunity ways. And so opportunity-wise, definitely because we offer networking events, mentoring programs, and learning both online and in person, where we've had to really do a shift is on the networking. We recently had International Women's Day, we had a hat and tea party, we had 125 women. So, moving forward in the reality of COVID, we won't be doing large events per se, but definitely we'll be doing, smaller, more quaint events. Some of them will be virtual. And I'm really hoping that in 2021, we can do a post-pandemic party, to really celebrate women. So the biggest opportunity really was for us to pivot, and that is to go a little bit more virtual. We were already doing that with our mentoring and learning, so not a huge impact on that line of business. And I think another big gift that came forward was a lot of our partners, for example, Harvard Business Publishing, offered us free Harvard courses for our members. So, right now we're offering complimentary courses to our members in spite of, everyone looking to do more development while they're at home. And we want to empower that. We've also had a lot of our members and guest speakers reach out to say, I will do pro bono work to help women that are in transition that maybe want to start their business or are looking for jobs during COVID. So in so many ways, it was wonderful in terms of, that opportunity area where both partners and members and guest speakers came forward and wanted to help others. And I thought, wow, true servant leadership and true kindness, which really resonates with our brand. So really proud to represent an organization where, I don't have to go to ask that. People came to us saying, how can we support Avanti Women during this pandemic?
Right. That's very commendable, Dina. And so as a business leader, how have you had to adapt in terms of running a company and running successful organizations as well?
Well, yes, definitely adapt goes with resiliency. And I would definitely say that during COVID, it has improved my resiliency. It's also helped me become a little bit more mindful and also look at self-care a little bit more closer. So I think, when I look and apply both mindfulness and resiliency to my personal and professional life, I feel that's what's really been helping me in my success. I think that, checking in with people and reconnecting and synergizing during this time has been a real gift.
Right, right. And so, Dina, in terms of Avanti Women itself, and we'll get back to a little bit of this after the commercial break as well, but what would you say are the perks of being an Avanti member, and who would benefit from your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. All women that are looking to continuously develop, if they are interested in learning more about Avanti Women, please visit our website at www.avantiwomen.com. And we will actually highlight the different networking events that we do because they're usually industry and topic focused.
Right.
Our mentoring is for high performing women who are entrepreneurs or in their careers. And our learning is online and in person. So, not only are we offer a free membership, it's a pay-as-you-go model. So we're always looking for great guest speakers and encourage people to join our member marketplace, where it's like a little mini LinkedIn, and they can share their profile so they can do some virtual networking. So, we really have become a training ground for women leaders. As I mentioned, we are a volunteer-run organization, and the women that come, they come and they learn, and then they come back in another capacity, whether it's a member, mentor, or to do some guest speaking. So, we always want to lift our women.
Awesome, perfect. And Dina, if you can just hold right there, we will be back after a brief commercial message. Again, we are with special guest Dina Barazza, and you're listening to the Roundup right here on Sauga 960 AM, and we'll be back right after this commercial break.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on sauga960am.ca.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Roundup with your host, Avi Rakhra, on AM 960 Sauga Radio. And we are back with Dina Barazza, the founder of Avanti Women. And Dina, if you can kind of let us know, you're known as the networking queen and somebody who has been immensely successful. Can you tell us how networking has probably changed during the pandemic, and how can those who want to continue to network adapt to the changing environment?
Yeah, great question. And definitely there has been a change. The traditional networking really is on hold. We're not going to venues. We're not shaking hands. We're not exchanging business cards. We're definitely shifting towards digital age, a new way of networking, and it's virtual. And so as people are starting to work more from home, they are definitely going to spend more time on their self-development. We're seeing, 61% increase on usage of Zoom. So you're seeing Zoom meetings, coffee chats, wine chats. We're doing not only business, but socializing. And we're relying on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, right? We're creating videos to show the world what we're doing during this pandemic to keep ourselves sane. And so what I really love about this virtual networking, again, has been a really great opportunity to connect with people, clean out my LinkedIn and connect and say, hey, how can we synergize? How can we support each other? Have meaningful conversations, talk about mental health, really being true to our emotions and how we're going to manage as we go through this tough time. And I really do find this a blessing, because this should be a gift to recognize, do more self-care, reach out to the people that you care about, and also find opportunities where you can, find lemons and make some lemonade, because, there's still people out there that have been able to really excel during this pandemic. There's still a lot of people who are, looking for answers and, are faced with some mental health challenges where we really need to be addressing. And supporting, which I think is a really important factor for our community.
Absolutely. And so, Dina, can you let us know if there's any particular events that you have coming up that people might be interested in?
Yes, absolutely. We recently interviewed a change expert, Siobhan Calderbank, and we'll have her information on our website or our YouTube channels. We are also planning a virtual meeting where we're going to talk about how to network virtually, and I'll be hosting that and inviting our members to participate and do some networking online via Zoom, have some fun, some prizes. And I think that's how people are going to do it these days. It's going to be all virtual. And I do plan in the new year to partner with Riverside Retreat, which is our, our kind of our headquarters for Avanti Women, and do some day retreats in nature. And instead of having, 100 or 200 women, we'll most likely, condense that to follow the rules around, 25 or 50 people. So I do see us doing more intimate, more smaller type events, so people can still have that social, still practice the distancing.
Right.
However, to be in nature and to still have that human ability to at least see people. So stay tuned.
Awesome. And Dina, if you can maybe tell us maybe in the past or coming up a little bit about the leaders you bring on or the type of industries that they might be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether they're a mentor or they're a guest speaker, a lot of our members also are executives or they are experts. And so I do find we have lots of individuals that are either professional in sales or in executive management, that are coaches in human resources. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs. So what I love about Avanti Women is we really have an interesting demographic of multiple generations. So we have 4 generations. And, we track members where they are living because, it would help us determine where to host the events. And I find now with us going virtually, that won't be a challenge because, if it's a topic you're interested in, you can attend it or we'll record it and they can listen to it later. So lots of great content out there. And I think that comes from a lot of our guest speakers who are experts in their fields. And again, as long as it's a topic that's interesting to our members, we'll bring information that's anything related to women. So hot topics, wellness, leadership, entrepreneurship, we are really clear on what our members want and we'll make sure we'll get that speaker for them.
Right. And Dina, as you had mentioned earlier, your membership is actually free and it's a pay-as-you-go kind of service as opposed to
Yeah, we are a membership-based organization. It is free to join. It's a pay-as-you-go model. Our goal is to really bring women resources. And so as long as we can empower women in their development, we've reached our goal. And so we rely on volunteers. I also have an advisory council that I heavily rely on for their thought leadership. They help us with our content management. When you have a women's organization, you're not only doing great marketing, you're also creating content. So I have an advisory council. We have volunteers. We give women the opportunity to learn new skills while they're in transition, whether they're an immigrant and they need to get some Canadian work experience. And we also have a lot of women who are, leaving their careers and saying, I want to start my own business. So that's where our mentoring programs come in. And a lot of our guest speakers who've been there and done that want to share their story with others. And, people are very open to receiving this feedback and the resources that we provide.
Right. And sorry, Dina, just before we continue, can you let our members know, or our listeners know how people can get in touch with Avanti or where they can check out some more information?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us Avanti Women, and that's AVANTI Women, WOMEN @.com. So you can send us an email at info@avantiwomen.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Perfect. And we will repeat that as well after the show. But Dina, moving on a little bit, from your experience, what would you, not just as someone who's a business leader, but as someone who has a philosophy, as someone who has a mantra, someone who's in a stage of your life where you've now found yourself, what would you like people to know, especially those that are going through a tough time right now?
Yeah, I think it's a really great time for people to be reflecting. I think it's a really good time to step back and talk about who you are, be clear in your vision and your purpose. And if you can address, looking at yourself holistically, mind, body, and spirit, challenge yourself in terms of great development, surround yourself around individuals who are going to lift you and encourage you and support you. And then, of course, being honest with yourself and knowing what are your gifts. There's some phenomenal tools out there where you can do some self-reflection, find out who you are, and be very clear on your purpose while you work towards that. And not to be afraid to ask for help along the way, to say, look, I'm interested in this topic. Do you know someone who can tell me more about it? Where can I get this information? You know, we're all humans and we all have to start somewhere. So I'm really hoping through this COVID experience that people can be a little bit more empathetic and more kind. And I think in my personal journey, this has been a really great opportunity to reflect on who I am and who I can continue to be. And again, working at my purpose around empowering people and their development. And in all my businesses, I make sure that's exactly what I'm doing. So it makes me feel great that I've, at this stage in my life, that I know where I'm going and where I'm headed. And I hope I can continue to empower and inspire others and continue with the movement to help one another.
Right. And so, Dina, you know, a lot of people and a lot of individuals sometimes, I think for them, it's they have a tough time trying to find their purpose, trying to find out what their reason for being on this earth is, or what their meaning, what life is for them, you know, try to get the most out of it. And I think for some people, it tends to be a long journey. Now, those who might be frustrated and not necessarily know which direction to go, what would your advice be? Would it be to keep in mind that it's a long road and to just keep going forward? Or what would you like to tell those type of people?
It's not always forward. Sometimes it's forward, backwards. It's like doing the cha-cha-cha, right? You have to go left, you have to go right in order to go forward. And, you know, when I look at Avanti Women, that's exactly what it was. It's a recipe for success. So what I would share with these individuals is do your networking, you know, find out who your main tribe is, leverage LinkedIn, you know, reach out to 10 people, and only if one gets back to you, that's okay. They're going to help you. And so networking is huge. 2, mentoring. Find a mentor. You can contact me at Dina@avantiwomen.com. If you know you can't afford our program, I'm happy to support you in any way I can. And you know, wanting to make sure that you do have a mentor for the different stages of your life. And of course, a third recipe for success would be learning. You know, continue to push yourself, whether it's a certificate or a new designation, something that's pushing you to think different and learn. And it looks great, not only in a resume, it's a great conversation starter if you're, you know, following groups on Facebook or LinkedIn, which is, again, another great way to contribute to conversations when you're networking. So if I had to give advice on what my recipe for success is, you know, a little bit of networking, making sure you have mentors, and lots of learning. And I guarantee if you're hardworking and you put your mind to it, you're going to succeed.
Awesome. Perfect. And Dina, before we go, I would like to thank you for your time and for you taking out the time out of your busy schedule to be here and for your advice and your wisdom. And I would like to say that you're a wealth of knowledge, and I know that we would love to have you back on the show. So it's an open invitation. Anytime you'd like to ever come back, or you have another project you're working on, if you'd like to give us updates of Avanti or any one of the other organizations that you help run or that you're part of, please feel free to come back at any time. I know that we greatly appreciate it. I know that our listeners would greatly appreciate it. But before I go, one last time, if someone would like to get in touch with you or attend one of your events, what is the best way to be reached?
Yeah, definitely contact us at info@avantiwomen.com.
Perfect. And so that was Dina Barazza, the founder of Avanti Women. If you would like to get in touch, you can check out Avanti, A-V as in Victor, A-N-T-I, women, WOMEN.com. Or you can email info@avantiwomen.com. Or if you're looking for other information or mentorship, you can email Dina at Dina, D-I-N-A, @avantiwomen.com. Dina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be back right after these messages on the Roundup right here on Sauga 960 AM.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on Sauga960AM.ca.